Andrew Cartmel had huge plans for Doctor Who in the late 1980s. The Doctor was to become more than just a Time Lord, and there are hints of this if you watch Remembrance of the Daleks and Silver Nemesis, as well as Battlefield. Ace also had an in-depth story, more than any other companion in all of the classic series. So, in this retrospective, I'm going to talk about what would have been if Season 27 actually came to light. Now just think for a second. Imagine you're back in 1989. You are watching Survival for the first time. Not many would have realised that this was the final story of the classic series of Doctor Who. Now imagine if that wasn't. Imagine it would have carried on with Season 27. It is said that this season would have given a proper send-off to Sylvester McCoy as the Seventh Doctor and Sophie Aldred as Ace. It would have introduced a cat burglar type of character as the new companion during halfway through the series, with her father being a sort of gangster type of fellow. You know, something like Michael Corleone from the Godfather trilogy, but just for Doctor Who. The new companion would probably have had her own backstory, just like Ace did. The Ice Warriors would have also returned. Bearing in mind, they would have come back in season 23, but because Michael Grade postponed the season, we didn't get them. So this was the second time that we would have seen the Ice Warriors return, but the BBC didn't want that. Instead, they went for other programmes like Casualty. Seriously, Casualty! Now, that only gets about 3 million viewers nowadays, and quite frankly, that's pretty bad in terms of viewership. Doctor Who didn't get that amount of viewing figures back in 1989. It got more than what Casualty does now. But anyhow, off topic. It would have been the first time in 17 years since we last saw the Mars creatures. But as we all know, it took until 2013 for the Ice Warriors to finally return to Doctor Who. They were supposed to return in the second story of the season, known as Ice Time. It would have written out Ace by making her become part of the Time Lord Empire. Now, that's something I would have liked to see. Thankfully, we have audios, which may give us an idea of what it may have been like. Things would have been tied up, which started all the way back in season 25. Let's forget about season 24. The less is said about that, the better. Andrew Cartmel wanted the Doctor to be a more mysterious and darker character, and you can really see this throughout Sylvester McCoy's performances as a Seventh Doctor in season 25 and 26. He was to become the sort of deity gogglite figure, making the Doctor a sort of potent figure. Now, the imagery of Sylvester McCoy as a god is a very interesting concept, and you can really see ideas from this, and they've been put in the new series, particularly during the 10th Doctor's era. Yeah, I'll admit it, Doctor Who wasn't sure it once, but I think with season 26, the show really found its way again, and things look great. We had 4 pretty good stories. I would have loved to see the Doctor and Ace and where they went after Survival, but as we all know, it was just left to our imagination. The CGI age was just taking baby steps by the time Doctor Who was put off air, and it would have been great for Doctor Who during the 1990s, but we got the movie, which was quite frankly terrible. Season 27's finale would have tied up all the loose ends about the Doctor, in particular Sylvester McCoy's Doctor. It would have seen him regenerate into the 8th Doctor, and this Doctor was to be played by Richard Griffiths, and he would have took over from season 28 onwards, but that never happened. Overall, I like what Cartmel was trying to do with the show. Unfortunately, the BBC didn't give him a chance to round everything off. In hindsight, though, if Doctor Who was not cancelled, we may not have had the likes of Paul McGann, Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Matt Smith, and Peter Capaldi taking on the iconic role as a Doctor. Ultimately, I wouldn't even be making this video if the show didn't get cancelled back in 1989. Thank you very much for watching.